The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Never lose a dime playing poker. Guaranteed.
Tonight at Bellagio, we will discover who is the best of the best, as one of the most prestigious titles in poker goes to the survivor of the toughest field of the year. The WPT World Championship starts now, only on the WPT.
Well, the crowd all standing. He is circling the drain. They are going bare knuckles in the center of the ring. He needs the extreme miracle.
For 9 seasons, the WPT World Championship has attracted the biggest names in poker, all trying to take home a title that would seal their place in the history of the game. Understand there are no soft spots in the WPT World Championship. 220 of the best players in the game came to Bellagio, ready to battle for the $1.6 million first place prize and the most coveted of WPT titles. But when you gather so much poker skill together in one room, you know the action's going to be fierce from the very first deal.
We want to certainly wish all of you a great week here at Bellagio. Shuffle up and deal.
It takes a special breed of player to risk the $25,000 buy-in to the WPT World Championship and compete in one of the most stacked fields of the season.
Tough field, a lot of money. $25,000 is a lot of money in this day and age.
But the 20 Season 9 WPT champions did not need to risk the $25,000 entry, as they had already won their seat into this event.
Just looking around, and it's you can see there's some amazing players here. It'd be a nice one to win this one as well, so let's hope when we do the second one.
This was also the last opportunity for players to rack up WPT Player of the Year points and try to catch leader WPT champ Andy Frankenberger. No pressure.
None whatsoever. I'm sure a lot of people in here want me to do really well.
It's like Alessio. Who else is right behind you?
Some guy at my table, Vivek.
Yes,
you know?
Vivek, 100 points.
It's great. I don't
behind
have to
you.
wonder how he's doing. He's right across the table from me. One thing I can be sure of is if I do well, I don't have to worry what everyone else does.
But at the WPT World Championship, the one focus on most players' minds, including last season's runner-up in this event, Eric Baldwin, was taking home the title. 170 players would survive the day, including WPT Player of the Year leaders Andy Frankenberger and Vivek Rajkumar, keeping that race alive. But leading the way was 23-year-old pro Christian Harder, who made the final table of this very event 2 seasons ago.
Play well and get lucky. That's about all it takes.
As players took their seats on day 2, others took advantage of a late registration, including reigning WPT World Champ David Williams, who was off to a good start.
I don't regret missing yesterday at all. 185.
Among some of the other late registrants were WPT champs Theo Jorgensen, Elke Gross-Pellier, Eugene Kachelov, and Nenad Medic. As usual, Phil Hellmuth delayed his entrance to the Fontana Lounge, and he was followed by the always entertaining Tony G.
It's good for all the nits to be there early. I'm not here to grind it out anymore. Of course, I have the heart and commitment to the game. I love the game.
With the final players in their seats, registration was closed with 220 players, and the action was intense. WPT champ Vivek Rajkumar would fall short in his bid to become the WPT Player of the Year, as he was sent to the rail by businessman Kerry Katz. And WPT Player of the Year points leader Andy Frankenberger was across the room at table 49, one of the toughest tables in the room, seated with multiple WPT champs, including Season 6 world champion David Chu. Andy would hit a bump in the road when he doubled up the one and only Doyle Brunson. But it was high-stakes cash game pro Abe Mosseri who made the most of his table draw and was able to finish off the day as chip leader.
I was just waiting to make some good hands. If I have a big hand, I'm not afraid to lose, and I'm just going to try to run people over a little bit, see how it goes.
But Abe would have his hands full as 116 tough players survived day 2, including Bay 101 champ Alan Sternberg, the legendary Doyle Brunson, and reigning champ David Williams, only 4 days away from the final table. The focus on day 3 was accumulating chips, and WPT Amityville champ Sam Al-Sayed started doing that from the very first hand. But young pro Galen Hall was looking to get more than just chips from Australian Jason Pritchard.
I'll buy a massage for the rest of the lift if you show up.
Getting equity in poker.
Yeah, absolutely. You're too good for me. I'll fold.
I thought I was bluffing on the river, right?
I'll fold a kings to it. How much do I
A few tables over, Season 9 champ Randall Flowers had exited the room when he thought his pocket queens lost to Club WPT qualifier David Brownworth's flop 2 pair, not realizing the turn and the river saved him. His friend and table mate Steve O'Dwyer gave Randall a call to inform him of his fate, and within a few minutes, Randall was back in his seat, but not for long, and the bust-outs kept coming. The day ended with 52 players, and David Chu was one of the 3 WPT World Champions still in contention, along with Yevgeny Timoshenko and David Williams. But the 3 players to cross the million-chip mark were WPT champ Sam Al-Sayed, Ninad Medic, and shooting star runner-up Stephen Kelly. On day 4, the Royal Flush Girls scoped out the field as only 27 of the remaining 52 players would make the money. Cash game pro Tony Gargano was able to pick up momentum when he picked up pocket jacks versus the pocket nines of Season 7 WPT World Champ Yevgeny Timoshenko. Yevgeny flopped a set, but Tony turned a bigger set, sending the former champ to the rail.
Even though I didn't make the money, I feel like I made really good decisions overall. I was just really focused the entire tournament, so that's all I can really ask of myself.
Tony Gargano's role would continue as he busted another former champ of this event, Season 6 WPT World Champion David Chu. WPT Player of the Year point leader Andy Frankenberger also found himself on the rail, short of cashing, and no longer in control of his Player of the Year destiny.
But right now, I feel pretty bad. There's a number of guys out there who could take it, so definitely sweat. You know, I wanted to do it on my own so I didn't have to worry what the other people did, but unfortunately that didn't happen for me today.
As the money bubble approached, there were still a number of big names in the field. And it would be poker pro Hafiz Khan who would fall short of making the money as he was eliminated on the bubble by Justin Young. It was then Galen Hall's turn to go on a rush as he eliminated the great Doyle Brunson in 24th place, Season 9 Day 101 champ Alan Sternberg in 23rd place, and Day 1 chip leader Christian Harder in 16th place to end the day with a massive stack. But there were 14 other players standing between Galen and the most coveted of WPT titles, including WPT champs Sam Al-Sayed, Ninad Medic, Daniel Alai, and defending WPT World Champion David Williams on the short stack.
I got like 10 big blinds. Like, nothing I can do about it now.
The mood in the Fontana Lounge was tense as the final 15 players began play focused on making the WPT World Championship final table. For 3 of those players, the day brought extra incentive as their hopes of being named WPT Player of the Year were still alive. Reigning champ David Williams was doing his best to achieve the rarest feat in poker, back-to-back World Championship titles. But with the short stack, he fell short of history and exited the second casualty of the day. With a third-place finish, Bay 101 runner-up Stephen Kelly could take down the Player of the Year honors, and he was in good shape to double up with trip sevens against Roger Teska's pocket aces and nut flush draw. But Roger spiked an ace on the river and denied Stephen the chance to make a second WPT final table this season.
Kind of stings a little bit.
And other talented players continued to fall.
It's really tough. Every table I had was all really good players.
Yeah, I'm happy with the way I played. It just wasn't going to happen.
Obviously, it's frustrating. I could have played a little better today, but this final table is going to be ridiculous. A lot of great players.
With 8 players left, it was WPT Amityville champ Sam Al-Sayed who held a huge chip lead. And though he was focused on the win, it would only take a 4th place finish to snatch away the Player of the Year honors from Andy Frankenberger.
It was my objective to be at the final table before I come here. I hope I will make it on the final table, and then I'm playing for first place, of course.
But Sam's chip stack and confidence would be shaken as he doubled up Justin Young, then lost a huge pot to Scott Seaver.
What's he doing here? Unbelievable.
And finally losing a race with pocket fives when Galen Hall flopped quad tens, and Sam's championship run would end in stunning meltdown as he exited in 8th place, leaving Andy Frankenberger the honor of WPT Player of the Year. It was David Peters who was eliminated on the TV bubble by Scott Seaver. And the final table of the last tournament of Season 9 was set, including a fearless amateur player, an old school pro, and 4 young talented pros with a shot to etch their name in poker history. Getting to this final table was the ultimate test of skill and survival, but the quest to capture the WPT World Championship title only gets more difficult from here. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to Poker Hall of Famer Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten. Mike, you played in this prestigious event. How stacked was the field?
Well, Kimberly, I did play in the event, and unfortunately I got knocked out in day 3. But every day when I would walk into the room, I look around at each table and see so many talented players. I think we had 51 WPT champions play in this tournament. There were just great players everywhere, but that's as it should be in the WPT World Championship.
And Vince, after 5 days of brutal competition, nonstop poker, do these guys have what it takes to cross the finish line?
Well, of course they do. One of them will become the champion, but what that champion's going to need is his best game, his best strategy, and a lot of heart. So tonight, I advise, hang on tight and get lucky.
Thank you, gentlemen. The action from the final table of the last tournament of Season 9 is almost ready to begin. We'll be back with the start of the WPT World Championship, brought to you by our Season 9 sponsor, ClubWPT.com, right after this.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour.
Brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
Where we're just moments away from the start of the final table of the WPT World Championship at Bellagio. After 5 days of intense play, we're now down to our final 6 players.
And Mike, these are the survivors. This is the very talented bunch that worked themselves through an incredibly tough field to possibly become a WPT World Champion. Also, there's a little $1.6 million that goes with it.
Huge money on the line here, Vince. Now let's turn it over to Bellagio's renowned tournament director, Jack McClellan, to kick off tonight's action.
Basically starting out with a 30 and 60,000 blind, 5,000 ante. Dealer, shuffle up and deal.
Okay, here we go. Final tournament of Season 9 about to get underway.
That is right. The WPT World Championship about to begin. One of the toughest fields in poker. The cards are being dealt. And first to act is the chip leader, Galen Hall, out of San Francisco. He's going to peek down at a King 9. Doesn't like it, folds it. Justin Young also going away. And now Tony Gargano. No, he won't play.
So action around to Roger Teska. Roger, a 26-year-old from Hudson Lake, Indiana. Claims to be an amateur player, but I play a lot of high-stakes poker with Roger, so I'm not sure about that amateur status.
Well, he's made it 120 with a King 9, but Scott Seaver right behind him with an Ace 10 making the call.
Over to the old-school player at the table, Farzad Banyati. He's going to lay it down.
So two-way action, Mike. King 9 versus Ace 10. Here's our first flop.
Flop 9-6-5. Good flop for Rogers. He takes the lead with top pair, but both players check. The prize Roger would check top pair in that spot. Now a 4 comes off. Again, Scott checks.
And there comes the bet by Roger Teska with the 9s, 150,000.
Well, Scott Seaver's going to pay him off with the ace high. Really believes ace high might be the best hand in this situation, the way this hand's been played. Now a jack on the river. Again, Scott checks.
Yeah, jack didn't help either player, but Teska bold again, gonna bet 400,000.
Well, Scott knows Roger's a very aggressive player, meaning he bets a lot of hands with junk and has no hand many times when he bets, so he's gonna pay him off for the ace high. But Roger gonna take down the pot.
And they're gambling in the Fontana Lounge early. Well done, Roger Teska.
I suppose anybody that wants to sit down with the world's best and take them on is a little bit out of their mind. I certainly wouldn't try to beat Tiger Woods on the golf course or Michael Phelps in the pool. I'd be drawn dead.
I think he's a good player. He can make it. Me, I don't know.
With poker, there's a luck factor. So the idea that I could sit down with people that are much better than me and still come out on top, it's pretty awesome.
Well, Vince, he paints this picture that he's not a very bright poker player and blah, 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 but Don't buy all that stuff. He's sitting at the final table playing for $1.6 million tonight.
We know better. Okay, a couple quick folds. Now Farzad Banyadi with 3 bracelets to his name. World Series, that is. Also going out.
Back around to our chip leader, Galen Hall. Galen's got a BS from Cal Berkeley, and he's going to be getting an MBA from Stanford here in the fall. So very bright guy.
He's raised with just a 10-7. Justin Young going away. But Tony Gargano now with a little wired pair of 6s is interested.
140? 140.
And he's going to make this call. So 10-7 up against a pair of 6s.
And Galen Hall trying to steal this pot. Flop comes 5-3 deuce. Good flop for 2 6s here of Tony, but he checks.
Now let's see if Galen will make the continuation bet. Yes, he does. 175,000.
Certainly going to get called at least with the 2 6s here.
Galen doesn't like that. Turn card coming up. Queen of clubs helps neither player.
Well, again, Tony checks. Galen is going to continue to fire here with no hand and no draw.
Oh, he's getting called.
Yeah, he's getting looked up by Tony. So
to the river we go. And the river card is
a 7.
Oh, boy.
Look at this, Vince. Galen Hall's been stealing this pot since the get-go, and now he's made the best hand on the river.
Gargano meekly checking again.
The guy who's been at it this whole pot now is going to try to get a value bet in here on the river. He's betting 375,000 here.
Cool.
Well, Gargano's about to gag because he's going to pay him off. Now, shows no emotion there, but the wry smile by Galen, as you can see, as he picks up this pot.
Yeah, I guess you can't stop betting when you have that big a draw.
Pair draw is like the best draw you can have.
It's so disguised.
We are just getting started at the WPT World Championship, and there's a lot coming up, including Tony Dunst dishing out the raw deal and a new edition of 5 Questions with WPT Grand Prix de Paris champ Theo Jorgensen. Stick around. How did you and Gus Hansen end up in a boxing ring?
Galen means crazy in Swedish, which is kind of funny because it's how a lot of online players have described my style of play. I don't think it's crazy. I think of myself as a very mathematical player, and if you do the math, the most optimal plays are extremely aggressive. So I try and play very optimal style, and that ends up being what people describe as crazy.
I'm confused. Crazy? Is he? What did he say there?
He said all these young guys, they like to keep firing at the pot. It's optimal play.
Okay.
That's the quote they use. What it means is they're very aggressive.
You got all the young lingo now, don't you? You say float a lot. You say optimal play.
I've got it, Vince. I'm trying to get it down here because once again, youth has prevailed. We got 4 guys under the age of 26 at this final table.
All right, back to the action we go. Annie's have gone up to 10,000, 40 and 80, and a raise there by Farzad Banyadi. Galen has made the call with a king-queen. Justin Young with a wired pair of 8s here. He's on a short stack. He's going to fold those, Mike. Interesting.
Wow, I'm shocked by that.
I am too. A couple more folds, and now Roger Teska not going to play. Scott Seaver, though, is interested, will play this.
Well, he's in the big blind, looks down at the 9-6 of clubs. Thinks he's getting priced in, as we say, so we're going to have a 3-way action flop here. The best hand folded. Flop is 7-5-4. An open-in straight draw for Scott. He checks. Farzad checks the Jack-10.
And Mr. Crazy himself, Galen Hall, going to bet with just a king-queen.
Well, he says it's optimal to bet all the time. Most of the time, anyway.
375. Seaver next to play. He's open-ended there.
Oh, Vince, look at this. Looks like he is getting out raising chips. Well, that is not going to be optimal for Galen Hall right there because he's been check raised here. He only has king high. He's going to go out, but what a nice play by Scott Seaver there.
Yes, it was. There's his dad and grandfather rooting him on. Scott Seaver, 26 years old. He's a cash game pro, a tough player. All this field was so tough. You played this, Mike, as well. So many Hall of Fame players played this event. One of the toughest events in the history of poker. We are watching, and we're down to these 6. On to the next hand, a couple folds. And now it's on to Roger Teska. Roger makes it 160 to go with a queen 10. Scott out. Now Farzad Banyadi with a king queen.
Farzad, an old school poker player, been a poker pro for 25 years, going to make the call here.
So queen 10 versus king queen. Flop comes up an ace king deuce. Farzad gets a piece of that with the kings, but it's going to check.
Now, always leery that the razor has an ace in his hand. Roger is going to bet, but notice it's the minimum bet possible, the size of the big blind.
80,000, and that is going to tempt Farzad to stick around. He makes the call.
Well over 400,000 in the pot, so certainly Farzad going to call with 2 kings. Now a 10 comes off.
It gives Teska a little piece of that with the 10s, but Farzad's coming out to bet 180.
This is a defensive bet here, Vince. No question about it, but Teska's calling. Well, he's made the straight draw. Both players need a jack for a straight.
Down to the river we go. 3 of hearts, irrelevant card, but he's going to check.
Well, both players going to check it down. Farzad going to win this pot with 2 kings.
That's right, Farzad Banyadi now. And believe it or not, he has played a ton of WPT tournaments, 62. Maybe it'll be his time here tonight.
With Season 9 on the World Poker Tour coming to a close, the WPT Player of the Year race was tight to the very end. When the dust cleared, it was WPT champ Andy Frankenberger who was able to stay on top. Here's a look at the final Player of the Year standings. Andy was able to accumulate 2,100 points after winning the Legends of Poker and having 2 other deep runs, including a final table here at Bellagio. Vivek Rajkumar finished in 2nd place after impressive back-to-back final tables, and WPT Amityville champ Sam Al-Sayed jumped into 3rd by finishing in 8th place right here at the WPT World Championship. Congratulations to all these players on a remarkable season, and especially to Andy Frankenberger, our Season 9 WPT Player of the Year. We'll be right back with more from Bellagio, so stay tuned.
I think my most memorable moment from the final table is I picked off a Mike Mattis out bluff.
How do you do that? You played him like a fiddle. A fiddle. Wow.
When that last card hit and I was a winner.
And a 5 comes up. He has done it, Vince. And right now you can see, folks, he is overcome with emotion.
Man, I could cry right now.
Oh, club! 4 clubs right on the turn.
That 4 clubs, I'll never forget what it felt like to see that thing peel off.
Andy Frankenberger makes another flush.
When Vanessa folded on the river when I had 8-4 suit.
Mullen. Whoa!
Please fold. Please fold. Don't let this be the end of my tournament.
The magician saws the woman in half.
Went backdoor to straight against Jason, and he almost threw it.
All in. Oh, boy, can't swallow a BB right there.
We did it! When I was all in with 3 players left, I had king 10 offsuit against pocket aces. I grabbed my water bottle, and as I'm sipping the water, the dealer's flipping the turn card, and all my friends behind me, like 20 people, just erupted and screamed. The whole place was like shaking. Oh, that was one of the coolest moments probably in my life.
So many great moments this season, and I'm here with one man who also had some great moments in this event. Club WPT qualifier David Brownworth, better known as Brownie. You, sir, had quite the week, right?
I did. I had a great week. Played well, got some cards. 29th. I missed by 2, but that's poker.
Yes, you missed cashing by 2, which definitely has to hurt. However, this was the toughest field of the entire season, so you got to be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah, we had a great time. The players were all great. Justin and I played the first 2 days together. He set me at ease, and from there we went on, so I'm kind of his fan right now.
Well, I heard a little rumor that you set him at ease as well. Tell me about your camaraderie with Justin Young.
Well, he had a little tradition. When we got to the 5th level, he'd always have a drink. So he was drinking a scotch. So I went out to the bar and I bought him a really good scotch and gave it to him. And like 2 hands later, he won his big pot. So I'm taking all the credit for him being at the final table.
So it's doable, right? I mean, you can play online, $19.95 a month, and get yourself here.
This is probably the greatest site. You can join Club WPT for $20 a month. And they play for a lot of gifts and cash games.
Right.
And, you know, you can come here and play.
Right, you can't lose.
You can't lose.
Just go to clubwpt.com to join, and you'll never lose a dime playing poker, guaranteed. Action's ready to resume, so let's get back to the game.
Well, there you see Galen Hall out in front with $5.5 million. Scott Seaver in 2nd place with 4.6.
There are the Royal Flush Girls, Melissa and Sanisa. They're enjoying the action. If you want to come out and meet them and Mike and myself and all the gang, check with worldpokertour.com for our tournament schedule. Roger Teska now. Won't play this one.
Looks around to Scott Seaver on the button. He looks down at 2-7s. Got the walking sticks. Pretty good hand on the button. He's going to raise it up to 200,000.
That's right. Now Farzad Banyati, though, with a king-jack of spades, will make the call. Galen out. So here's the flop.
Let's come Jack 8-7.
Oh, boy. Three of a kind there for Seaver.
Farzad's flop top pair. He's going to lead out and bet here, 225,000. Well, Scott has bottom set, but as you see, possible straight, possible flush out there. So he's not going to fool around and slow play it. Makes it 645,000 to go.
Can Farzad get away? No, he's making this call. Big trouble. Here comes the turn card, and we are peaking at a 3 of diamonds. No help to either player.
So Farzad Banyati drawing completely dead here.
He's checked it.
I'm all in.
Whoa. Scott Seaver says all in.
He's not taking any chances on getting outdrawn on the river. He's going to move in right here and put Farzad to the test. And I'm telling you, if you're sitting in Farzad's seat against a very aggressive player like Scott Seaver, you could well think your 2 jacks are the best hand. This guy's just trying to drive you out of the pot.
Well, he's going to the water. If he makes his call, he'll be going to the bar real soon.
That's for sure. No card he can catch to win this pot.
You breathing?
I don't know what he just mumbled, but tough to lay this down.
Well, Scott looking statuesque here.
Farzad Banyati.
I hate to lay it down, but I guess I will.
Highly qualified professional.
And he's going to lay it down.
Oh, nice drop there, Farzad. And Scott Seaver may be kicking himself a little bit.
Oh, man, if all the drawing hands weren't out there, I'm sure Scott would have bet less to reel in Farzad a little bit more, but...
And flush draw, too?
You just would hate to give a guy a gut shot straight draw to bet cheaply to let him beat you or catch a flush to beat you.
All right, on we go. Roger Teska. Gonna peek down at an uneventful hand. He folds that. Scott Seaver now.
Well, now he picks up the Kojak hand, the King Jack suited. He just had good success against this hand. Now he's going to try to play it and see what happens.
Yep, 160,000 to go. Farzad now picks up a pair of 9s.
So same 2 guys going to play another pot here. And Farzad just calls, doesn't raise here.
Galen out. Justin Young now.
I'm all in.
What the heck?
Well, Justin Young's on the short stack, but he's going all in right here.
With a king 10. Gargano out with a pair of 7s.
Well, this is sort of a squeeze play, Vince.
Scott Seaver out. Now Farzad, though, with a pair of 9s.
I call.
And he's going to make the call.
Good call.
Well, Farzad has made the call. Justin squirming, as you can see. But in truth, he's in as good a shape as he could be in this situation. It's a race. He's got the overcards. Farzad's got the smaller pair.
So Justin Young, the former mechanical engineer, in trouble right now.
He's cashed 6 times on the WPT, all right here at Bellagio. But to continue to play, needs some help now.
And he doesn't get too lucky there with an ace-jack deuce on the flop.
Well, he does flop an ace-high straight draw. So a queen would give him the best hand possible. A king or a 10 would give him the lead.
Jack, then an ace.
But the 9 still out in front. Farzad wanted to break this player and narrow it down to 5 players.
Justin, a former engineer, trying to wire this hand up a little better, and he does so as the 10 comes up on the turn. Justin Young has taken the lead. Farzad must catch a 9 on the river to win this pot.
Oh, boy. Pain and torture there from Farzad. River card coming up.
Well, the 7 of hearts comes off. Tough luck for Farzad, but Justin Young staying alive. And Vince, as you know, when you've been a pro player for 25 years and take beat after beat, might be a reason you have no hair.
We're coming back with more action from the WPT in just a moment. Stay with us.
If you want to get in on the action anywhere, anytime, download WPT Texas Hold'em on your mobile device today.
WPT Texas Hold'em. Sometimes the game's too good to leave behind.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. The WPT World Championship brings together champions of not only the events here in the United States, but also WPT champs from around the world. I was lucky enough to spend a few moments with one such champ from Europe, the winner of the Grand Prix de Paris, the charming and talented Theo Jorgensen, and it's all in this edition of 5 Questions. What is your playing style?
I would love
to win every single putt. But people has kind of figured that one out. So I kind of have to slow down sometimes. But if people will let me win every single putt, I will take every single putt I can.
What was it like to win a WPT title in the aviation club?
To actually win it was a dream come true. I've been playing poker for a living for 10 to 12 years, but I've always made most of my money playing cash games. I've always wanted to win a no-limit hold'em tournament, and it was a lot of fun. Yes, baby.
Will poker continue to be as popular in Europe, or is it just a fad?
I'm pretty convinced poker will still be very popular, especially because there is a lot of skill involved, and there's only a very little part of luck involved. So I'm still convinced it's going to be very popular in Europe.
What advice do you have for young players trying to make their mark on the poker tournament circuit?
Well, the one thing that came as a big surprise to me was that you have to really learn to lose. Like in the beginning when I busted out in a tournament, it could take me 2 to 3 weeks. But you have to accept the fact that you will bust out a lot of times.
I have heard of some crazy prop bets, but how did you and Gus Hansen end up in a boxing ring?
The boxing thing came along after a squash game. He was giving me the needle shadow boxing in front of me, and it looked so ridiculous that I said, well, we can definitely go in the ring. And before we were out of the shower, we had to bet down 6 months from now, 35K, 3 rounds, that's it.
Who won? The champion.
The champion.
Didn't I see him in Blade Runner?
Well, Theo Jorgensen, a great guy, great poker player. The Muhammad Ali of poker, apparently. But Vince, he gave some great advice there. You got to learn how to lose if you play tournament poker.
Good point. And right now, Scott Seaver is the chip leader. And Galen Hall, with an ace-10, has raised this to 160, been folded around. And now it's on to Roger Tesco.
He's going to lay it down.
Scott out. Now Farzad Banyadi. Whoa. He has picked up the weapons of mass destruction, the pair of aces.
It's what you dream about. You're in the big blind on the short stack at a final table of a WPT event, and the pot's been raised to you. Just a matter of how much he's going to raise.
I'm on it.
How much is it total?
Well, he's going all in.
And Galen says, how much?
It's going to cost Galen about $950,000 more to make this call.
1.1, I call.
Well, Galen's made the call here.
Not going to like it when he sees those aces.
Well, Galen says he's a mathematical player and knows any other hand he's up against. Doesn't matter what it is. 2 kings, ace king. He's not in that bad a shape. The only hand he's in dire straits against is the 2 aces, and that's what he's looking at.
There you go. Farzad Banyadi with a big smile. A big chance to double up. Here comes the flop.
Now, flop comes queen 6-5 with 2 clubs, so Galen's going to have to hit 2 runners to win this pot.
Oh, I don't even have a club out. Sweet.
Just a beautiful flop there for Farzad.
Galen's going to have to catch 2 cards to make an ace-high straight or 2 running 10s. Doesn't happen as a queen comes on the turn. Farzad Banyadi going to double up right here.
So Farzad Banyadi doubling up. He still has a chance of taking home this very prestigious title and the over $1.6 million that goes with it.
Stay tuned for more poker action from Bellagio.
My name is Melissa Grace, and I love the Bellagio. And the conservatory is absolutely beautiful. You smell all the fresh flowers, and there's so many different colors, and they just go together, and it makes you feel really happy.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. They're the beautiful Royal Flush girls enjoying the flowers here at Bellagio. And we're down to 6 players tonight. One of these players is going to take home over $1.6 million in one of the toughest fields ever in poker. To the felt we go. Quick fold by Galen Hall. Justin Young also out. Tony Gargano not going to play. To Roger Tesco.
Well, Roger has a junk hand, a 6-3 offsuit on the button. Going to raise it anyway, though. Makes it $200,000 to go.
Scott Seaver, the chip leader, out. Now Farzad Banyadi, though, with a king-jack in the big blind.
And the Telly Savalas look-alike picks up Kojak again. Makes the call.
So king-jack versus 6-3. And we are flopping.
Now flop comes king, 4 deuce, all clubs.
Farzad with the kings checks it.
Neither player has a club in their hand, but Roger going to try to steal his pot. Makes a bet.
125, but Farzad, quick call by him. To the turn we go.
Roger looking for a 5. Doesn't happen as the deuce comes off.
Farzad now first to act again, and he's going to check his kings again. Well, Roger Teska is not going to slow down. He bets 350.
Roger firing a second shell at this pot. There's Roger's parents praying for some help here. They must know he has nothing.
Well, Farzad has made this call, sticking around like a bad rash. Down to the river we go.
Well, an ace comes off, so Farzad not going to be happy to see that card.
Yeah, and he's slowing down. He's checking.
And look at this. Roger Teska is going to fire a third shell at this pot with absolutely junk.
Zip and Pip, you got to appreciate this. The boldness. And this could get Farzad out, perhaps.
I call.
He's going to make the call, and he is going to win this pot. The old school guy has picked off the youngster like a cherry on a tree right here.
Oh, that was brilliantly done. He walked the dog. He made the call. He's got to be happy with himself right there. Farzad picking up a big one.
Now, Roger Teska talking to himself a little bit there, saying, why did I do that? Why did I raise on the button with a 6-3? Why didn't I just fold that in?
Like he did right here. The next hand, he's going to fold. Scott Seaver taking a break as well. Round to Farzad. He won't play this one. And now Galen Hall. Wow. He's got one ace. Let's take a peek at the second card. It is a king. Nice hand.
Premium hand on the button here for Galen Hall. He is going to raise it. Makes it $205,000 to go.
Right behind him, Justin Young picking up an ace-jack. Also a pretty good hand.
Justin Young, 31-year-old poker pro out of Henderson, Nevada. And he's going to raise here to $550,000.
Tony Gargano going away. So back on Galen. And come on. Wow, look at this. He says all in.
Well, tough decision now for Justin Young, because this would be his tournament life if he makes this call and loses this pot.
I call.
No, he's making the call, Vince. He has done it, and you see the expression on his face. He knows he's up against it, doesn't like it. Justin went to North Carolina State. He's a former engineer, been a poker pro for 5 years, and right now, he needs some help.
Went with his gut. It is wrong. He's in big trouble right now. Here comes the flop.
And the flop comes 5-4-3. Not a bad flop for Justin, in that a deuce will now give him a split pot. They both have a 5-high straight, but he must catch a jack to win. Needs a deuce for the tie.
Oh, a 10 of hearts not going to help Justin Young. He's down to one more card.
Nothing changes. Jack to win, a deuce to tie. Otherwise, this former engineer will be short-circuited out of here in 6th place.
The old fork in the socket, perhaps. Shakes his head. Can he get lucky here? No, not to be.
6 comes off, so that's going to do it for Justin Young. He is going to be our 6th place finisher.
Well, he is disappointed. Picks up $225,000 in one of the toughest fields ever in poker here at Bellagio. And we're down to 5.
Well, Justin Young claims to have the best beard in poker.
That beard could turn white very fast. Make those calls with ace-jack.
Today I played okay. You know, I got lucky to win the coin flip king 10 against 9s. And when I 3-bet Galen there, like, I was kind of hoping he would push. So, but he did it so confidently, made me kind of like second guess myself for a second. But I still got what I wanted. So just unfortunate he woke up with ace king.
Justin Young is out in 6th place. Luck was not on his side tonight. We'll be right back with more from the WPT World Championship in just a moment. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. This season, Tony Dunst has always spoken his mind, and tonight he holds no punches in breaking down highlight plays of the season in this edition of The Raw Deal, brought to you by Rise.
Throughout Season 9 on the WPT, we've witnessed an evolution in the playing style of poker. All in. What can we learn from an accumulated season of WPT final table hands? Let's break it down. Number 1. Have a plan. I mean, seriously, have a freaking plan. It's still so common that players take actions without actually thinking over the consequences of what will happen as a result. Such as Kia Mohajeri at the Borgata Poker Open, 3-bet folding jacks 35 big blinds effective in a 3-handed game.
I can't believe he laid it down.
What are you doing, Kia?
I'm not saying you should be able to consider every possible variable, but you should have a sense of what you will do against many of the more probable ones. 2, think about exactly what hands you're trying to fold out when bluffing. When you elect to take a line that involves bluffing, you should know what range of hands you're aiming to bluff out and approximately how much aggression you think it will take to get them to fold. At Bellagio Cup, we saw John Caridad turn his pocket sevens into a bluff against Phil Ivey. Caridad fired every street in a spot where if Ivey is calling 2 barrels, he's almost always calling the 3rd.
He's making a solid call.
Especially when such a small-sized bluff lays him an excellent price. 3, look for opportunities to thin value bet. Earlier this final table, we watched Galen Hall fire 2 barrels as a bluff with 10-7, only to make second pair on the river and get a surprising 3rd street of value from Tony Gargano. Thin value betting takes a combination of hand reading and an image that you actually could be bluffing. But if you have those weapons in the arsenal, you can really make some people feel punked when you turn over the better hand in a spot where they wouldn't have anticipated it.
Pair draw is like the best draw you can have.
Hopefully, points such as these and the ones like them I've made through the season have given you a new insight to high-level poker strategy and how you can improve your game. It's been a great season full of both amazing and amazingly bad play, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the WPT for giving me this fine ivory tower from which to cast down my harsh criticisms and hateful glare on you all.
Well, Vince, the great thing about poker is you can learn from watching good play and you can learn from watching bad play.
No doubt about it. And right now, our chip leader is Scott Seaver with over $7.3 million as 5 players remain here at the WPT World Championship. Action goes to a very happy Scott. And he peeks down at that big slick. Ace, king of diamonds. What a hand.
Well, look at this. He just makes the minimum raise to $200,000 with this premium hand.
Farzad going out. Galen Hall not going to play. Tony Gargano now.
He's going all in.
What?
Well, Roger Teska quickly goes out. Scott Seaver quickly calls. Has him dominated ace-king versus king-jack. Tony Gargano up against it right here.
And Scott Seaver making that $200,000 raise. Maybe that induced Tony Gargano to push all in.
Jack, Jack, deuce.
Tony Gargano. He's played 13 WPT tournaments. This is his first final table. He needs some luck right here. Can he get it? Here's the flop, and an ace hits for Scott Seaver. He has aces out in front.
Well, Scott pumping his fist there. He knows his opponent's got to hit 2 runners to win this pot, 2 running hearts, or 2 running cards to make an ace-high straight, or 2 running jacks.
Tony Gargano needs luck.
Doesn't happen as the 6 of spades comes on the turn. That's going to do it. Tony Gargano drawing dead. The English major from the University of Michigan, Tony Gargano, out in 5th place.
That is right. A big effort by Tony Gargano. Going to take home $278,000. He lives in Vegas. Has to say goodnight. We're down to 4.
Well, Michigan fans say go blue. Right now we say go Tony, go home.
It's usually penis envy that I struggle with, but that crowd of yours is something else.
All right.
I don't speak for or control.
We've reached the halfway point in our coverage of the WPT World Championship. So Mike and Vince, has the play been going as you anticipated? And what can we expect to see when the final table continues?
Well, I think you would anticipate the 2 guys that came to this final table as chip leaders, Galen Hall and Scott Seaver, to be very active from the start. They both had big-time success in the past, and they're probably going to push hard and fast. These guys aren't worried about pay jumps, just about the win.
Yeah, and Mike, I like the play we've seen so far from Farzad Banyadi. This guy's the old-timer, the Telly Savalas lookalike. You know, he's taken some hits, but maybe he can win one for the old guys. Now, there's also Roger Teska, and no amateur has ever won the WPT World Championship, but he's playing great poker, too. This is going to be fun.
Well, guys, this should be a thrilling conclusion because only one of these 4 players will be leaving Bellagio as Season 9 WPT World Champion. Please join us next time for continuing coverage of the WPT World Championship, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Until then, for Mike Sexton, Vince Van Patten, Tony Dunst, the Royal Flush Girls, and the whole WPT team, I'm Kimberly Lansing saying thanks for watching. Good night.